From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
Shamrock Security Systems, 629-3223. Shamrock Security Systems is located here in Ocala, Florida. Shamrock Security Systems is a top-rated alarm company offering 24/7 monitoring, video surveillance, fire and flood protection. You'll sleep a little better once the job is done. Shamrock Security Systems for over 31 years. 629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223. On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Holy what have you done to my kitchen?
Oh, honey, how is it? I never know when she's coming home.
What are all these pipes laying around? Why is my dishwasher in the living room, and why is the carpet all wet?
Well, remember that fancy new kitchen remodel you've always wanted?
Oh, I do, and this is not it.
But I thought I might save some money by doing it myself.
You thought wrong. I promise this is going to cost you way more. You should have called in the professionals at Mike Scott Plumbing, because I'm pretty sure when I flush the toilet, water is not supposed to come out of the sink.
Noticed that, did you?
The next thing I'm going to notice is you calling Mike Scott Plumbing like you should have done in the first place.
Yes, dear. 866-314-4443.
Yes, 866-314-4443.
That played out so differently in my head.
on next week's episode of What Not to Do.
No, not monkeys.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Listening to AIM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, as we are now just about 20 minutes before the top of the 11 o'clock hour. To round out the show, AIM Ocala Live, we've got Ocala Magazine, Philip Glassman, and your guest today, Carla Grimsley from Interfaith. Welcome, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you guys in here helping me out, finishing up the show here for this Friday.
To you.
Yep, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the weekend party.
Yeah,
Friday.
I'm ready.
I think we all are.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a long one here. This was interesting. So this was the last full week of June as far as the work week goes. That means next week we're into July. The weekend after next is July 4th, if you can believe that. We are making our way through this year.
Independence Day. So
but then again, if you ask somebody, how remember back in January? Like, yeah, January 3-4 years ago? That's how it feels, right? But
it's definitely going to go down as one of the toughest years I think any of us have all experienced.
Absolutely. But I'll leave it up to you, partner, to go ahead and roll with it.
You know, we're here to talk about Interfaith, who is our guest, Carla Grimsley, and what she has been accomplishing through the charity that she heads and represents. And she has some incredible stats, and I just want to introduce her first. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
You know, when I try to choose charities, and we chose her last month from the pub letter for our charity, but, you know, kind of being out and, you know, there's not Kiwanis and the Rotary wasn't meeting and all that type of stuff. But you still, when you're out a little bit here and there, you hear, you know, hey, this person got helped and this person got help.
Yeah.
And it's kind of always in the backdrop. You hear Carla Grimsley, Interfaith. And it doesn't matter whether it's helping people with the homeless or it's helping people get food or helping people get drugs or just helping people get right on a bright path. Yeah. It's always that name you hear, Carla Grimsley and Interfaith. So that's why we have her here today, and we wanted her to talk about some of the great things that you've been doing.
Well, I have to start by saying we haven't done it alone. We've done some incredible things to help people that are struggling because of the COVID crisis, but we've done it with partnerships like United Way and some other incredible donors, Cox Communications has stepped up and helped us, Duke Energy, Seco Energy, and so because of all those people pitching in and helping, we've been able to just help people that have lost their jobs or their or income due to COVID, keep their lights on, keep a roof over their heads. The last thing we want to do is have more homeless people to have to help and support.
Right.
It's easier to keep people housed that are already stable, so that's been our focus.
And I really wanted to go over some stats. She just kind of previewed me on some of the things that she's accomplished here in a short period of time. And with regards to homeless, there's one thing to help a homeless person have a meal or help a homeless person spend the night somewhere for a night. It's another thing to take a homeless person and get them a job and get them a place to stay and get them transitioned back into society. And Interfaith has actually done that with this staggering number in this market of 46 homeless people that are no longer homeless people. They're people that are back into society.
Yeah, wow.
And I mean, that to me is, I get a chill just saying that in general.
And the other heartwarming part of that is I think about 16 of those were children.
Oh,
They were,
Oh, wow.
they were
16 of the 46?
Yeah, they were in the shelter with their families.
What ages was that, Carla? Would you say roughly?
The ages range from babies to 18. I think the oldest one we've had, I don't know if we've had any teenagers above the age of like 16 in there so far yet this year, but it's not uncommon. The majority of the children that come through are elementary school age or younger. But it's not uncommon for us to have newborn babies. We've been the first home for a lot of newborn babies, sadly. But the exciting part is, seeing those moms get their lives together and then create a home for that child, or to reconnect with family
and get their own self-respect. And I believe this, wholeheartedly. If someone gets a job and then they're able to get a place to live and they're able to take care of themselves, they get their own self-respect, and that's the most valuable commodity you can have as a human being, to get yourself back into society. So it's really amazing.
Yeah, like you said, partner, just being able to feel like you did what was right and the right thing, and then being able to then build from there.
He's got a young 2.5-year-old, and I've got a 3-year-old. If you can't provide for your child, it weighs on you.
It does.
Right.
So being able to do that, you get your own self-respect, but you're able to also take care of your child. I mean, if I wasn't able to take care of my son or my daughter, I don't know what
I was so impressed with these families, too, because they did it during a pandemic. I mean, it's hard enough when things are normal, but... the will
I think
they
it brought
had.
out the best in a lot of people because, first of all, I never even heard of a pandemic up until, this stuff. So it's, I don't think most people did or knew what a pandemic was. But, I think it brought out good in a lot of people because, they had fear or this or whatever that motivated them.
Yeah, and a really cool thing that we witnessed was the week that the stimulus checks started hitting people's mailboxes, we started seeing an uptake in our donations. I mean, literally, the first Monday of every month, I get a report that lists all my first-time donors. These are people that have never given before. Usually there's anywhere from 3 to 5 on there. I had pages. Every Monday morning, I would have pages of new donors. And some of them would be $500, some of them would be $1,200, some would be, 30 or 50, but $27,000 of those donations, the people that gave them, represented that this was part of their stimulus money that they wanted to share with people that needed it more than they did.
Right,
amazing.
Right.
It was incredible, and that's just the people that told us.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, I would like to, have a call of action to our readership of the magazine, Ocala magazine, or the listenership of the radio show, to where could they go to donate? Because there is no better place to donate, in my opinion, in this market for helping people in the community.
Well, if you just want to make a cash donation, which we appreciate because we just did a food order for $20,000 to keep up with this, 3 times the normal rate that we're giving it out. So you can go online and make a donation very easily at our website at iesmarion.org, and that's I for Interfaith, E for Emergency, S for Services, which is our name, so iesmarion.org. You can put it in the mail to P.O. Box 992, and the zip code for that is 34478. Or there's a couple of groups that are helping us in the next month. Center State Bank has started being a collection site for food. So if you're driving past the Center State Bank, or if you bank there, all the branches in Marion County are collecting food for us through July 24th. And on July 24th, Rotary clubs around the county are setting up collection sites. Like our club, which is the downtown club, will be at Angie Lewis State Farm collecting. The other downtown club will be collecting at Center State Bank on the Boulevard. And then the Bellevue club is going to be collecting at Absher Insurance down in Bellevue. I'm still waiting for locations from a couple of the other clubs, but there's plenty of we're trying to make it convenient for people to just drop it off on their way, because I know a lot of people are limiting how much they're out and about.
Right.
So we want to make it convenient. So over the next month, if you have some food you want to share, trust me, it will help.
And if you're ever wondering or thinking, well, is that going to get to the public, or is that going to get to the people? I'll just give you a little stat of what Carla and Interfaith have done since March through May. They have fed, and through a car line, 15,801 people coming through, which are families, that feeds them for 7 days. Yeah. So you can take that 15,801 and times it times 7. That is a tremendous feat in that period of time.
It is.
It's amazing.
The incredible thing is the need. I heard on the radio one morning that food insecurity increased by 400% in our country because of this crisis. So I know yesterday there was a food giveaway at CF. One of our congressmen, I think, spearheaded that, and I know that there's some other groups, Rondo and Chris Spears, and trying to think, His Compassion is one of our partner agencies. They've been doing food drives remotely, giving away the same amount. It's just been so cool, though, to see how the donations have kept up with it.
Sure.
Every day I walk in my warehouse, I feel like I am witnessing the miracle of loaves and fishes that happened in the Bible, where Jesus had 7 loaves and 3 fish and fed 5,000 people. That's how it feels every day.
Do you feel, in your own self, because of how much you want to help, do you feel a little bit of that pressure when you thought, oh, man, we need to make this work, we want to do it, and then all of a sudden it's being able to do it?
It's incredible. It's incredible, because when this first started and we started the drive-through, we're thinking we'll have enough food for a week, and then we're probably gonna have to shut down.
Sure.
But every afternoon when I walk in my warehouse and we still have food to start the next day, it just is so uplifting.
And it's just because it keeps getting dropped off, and there's and like Cheney Brothers, McLean's, USDA has stepped up. Borden Milk they're producing milk just for pantries right now. They called and asked us, how many pallets can you give away every week? So we get 4 pallets of gallon jugs of milk every week.
That's incredible.
There's just the giving of this country, and I know there's so much negative and bad things in the media right now. I just wish, for even one day, the media would focus just on the good, because there is so much good.
You nailed where I was thinking it was going.
Good news. I mean, there's watching. I really don't watch it, but I go to my dad's, and my dad's constantly watching it, and there's just nothing good. You don't hear anything about what's happening positive in this.
But there's for every bad deed, there's probably 1,000, exceptionally selfless deeds going on, and I get to witness it. It's been exhausting, but my staff just keep going because we're constantly uplifted by the generosity.
Well, and you've got to give yourself some credit, because you've taken that and you've gotten the people involved who are your partners and whatever it is, and you've made a vehicle to be able to implement that.
A good system to make it work, to make it easy.
Yeah, and I got to give my staff the kudos for their willingness to be flexible. Yeah. And we have, because it's not just, we had to adjust one time. We've been constantly adjusting. We're still adjusting,
you probably will. It's a work in progress.
It keeps morphing, but they've been great. They've just, stepped up. And even when I felt like we needed to close, because they were just getting really tired, and we did need to kind of restock and reboot, my staff still came in that week. I gave them a week off, and I come to the warehouse to do something. They're there, collecting food.
Well, when you see these faces of these families and these people, it's so heart wrenching. It's tough enough to make it out there. I mean, no matter what level you're at. It's tough.
One of the adjustments that we've had to make, and we're having to, as our volunteers are coming back, because our volunteers are used to our clientele being people at the poverty line or lower. They're the people that live marginally all the time. And we've really had to stress to our volunteers, you can't judge our clientele. Now, our clientele's changed. We have cars coming through that car line that are newer models, than we're used to seeing. We've had some expensive cars come through the line. But when you think about someone who had the income that afforded them a Mercedes, and now that income is gone,
right.
They're hurting just as badly as somebody that lost, a minimum wage job right now.
Right, but that plays on the idea, like you were saying in the beginning. I've heard so much of it here, being in the position of the radio station, of just how much the community did step up through this pandemic. Our community, Marion County, Ocala.
It's always been one of the, and that's why I love Ocala and Marion County, because it's always been one of the best charity areas, whether it's United Way or all of the ones that are here.
So maybe on the back end of what you're saying is like it's a different, genre, so to speak, coming through, but that doesn't mean anything, because, on the backside of that, when it does come to better times, they're going to give back.
Exactly.
We've seen that happen already.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating when you mention what you've kind of evaluated there around the time of the stimulus check, that a lot of people were like, wow, this is... Let's give this to somebody who truly needs it. That's just great.
Yeah, it's been probably 3 or 4 times now. My warehouse manager has called me and said, a man just walked up and handed me $500 cash, doesn't want any recognition. He just said this was a stimulus, he didn't need it.
Yeah.
And that's happened, not the same person. Just they just randomly walk up and give us money.
That certainly speaks volumes.
but that's why, we have felt such a conviction to give back, because, I honestly, I could probably just, put it in our bank account and we'd be good for another year, and keep operating like we are. But I just feel such a strong conviction that the people giving us this money want us to do something with it right now, which is why my board has approved now $100,000 of assistance that, that has come out of our budget.
Yeah.
And the rest has come from other donors.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It was probably a year and a half ago that I met you or something when I first had bought the magazine, and several people have referred me to her, and we had her on the in the magazine and on the show. But what happened was I went through over there. You found out that they also have a medical facility where they have I don't want to say, how do you call that?
We partner with Hope Clinic, and they provide free primary medical care to people that are low income and don't have insurance,
and
the
medical
homeless.
drugs.
And then, we have
doctors.
We have a prescription medication assistance program where when someone comes to us from the ER, from a doctor, and again, if they're not insured, we will pay for their medication.
And that is, they have paid for 369 people's medication in that same period of time. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's not just one medication. Some people will come to us with 5 scripts.
Sure. Taking 2 to 3
because a lot of our clients are diabetic clients, and if you can imagine insulin, the cost of that. But diabetics often have heart issues and other issues, so we'll buy all their medicine to keep them well.
It's just amazing to have such a short period of time, and 369 people may not sound like a lot, but it is a lot of people, to be able to take care of their medications.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty impressive. So Carla, talk to us about, they have a new thing that they're doing, and I think they've funded it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, anywhere up to $75,000, and the $75,000 is being allocated for 75 families that will directly help their lives up to $1,000 per family?
Right. Well, what it is we're going to assist people with their July rent or mortgage payment up to $1,000.
Okay.
So it actually will help more than 75, because we will have families that come that their rent's only $600 or $700 or their mortgage is only that much.
Okay.
So we're hoping to stretch that out, but my board put a cap of $1,000 just because they wanted to make sure that more families got at least some help.
Sure.
So we will have people that come with mortgages that are $1,200, but we'll still pay $1,000 toward it, so they're just not that far behind.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I missed that. So it's rent and mortgage.
Rent and mortgage payments.
That's unbelievable.
And it's another thing that's changed. We've never really paid people's mortgages before because our clientele typically are not homeowners, and that's changed with this pandemic. You have people that are homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of the volunteers that have helped us through this crisis are our displaced employees from the Hilton's catering department.
Oh wow!
And and one of the people that's been there volunteering, she has been with the Hilton for 13 years and is in a management position. And, it's that kind of people that are now trying to figure out how they're going to make it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's unique.
They're not expected to go back to work until October. So could you imagine going that many months without a paycheck? Luckily, thank goodness, a lot of them were able to get their unemployment benefits, but there's still a contingency out there. A lot of people that it's still pending. I have a relative just that, who's in that situation. It's been pending since March, and she's kind of in in a hold.
Yeah, you look at someone like myself. I mean, they came and they closed our bars down, and we had, spent $100 and something thousand for concerts at the big bars over there, Rawhide, and then they closed us down, and then it was 4 months later, and then they said in the 5th month we'll let you open, and at that point, we were already done.
Yeah.
There's no real way that we could have recaptured all the money we lost for the concerts that we planned for 90 days out, and so we just gave them back the keys. But it affects everybody, inclusive of myself, and there's pretty much I think the reach of it went to everybody in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's been interesting for people to realize or feel what it feels like for some of our people that live marginally all the time, to have that stress of, I don't know how I'm going to pay my light bill or my rent. It's been very humbling for a lot of people.
Sure.
For everyone, I think, but there has been a lot of positive things that have come out of it for me. It allowed me, I'm not in the bar business, so that was a winner. So people go, oh, I'm so bad. I said, well, don't feel too bad. I'm kind of happy about that. But, I think you can reconnect with your family on a deeper level, because you weren't worried about making the money, or you weren't worried about doing this. And really, when you were quarantined, you really didn't have much choice at that point.
Yeah, we were forced to stay home and learn how to be together and play games and entertain ourselves.
Yeah. And it really wasn't on the phones as much, because for me, my kids are on the phone, they're playing games or internet or whatever. For me, I'm talking on the phone trying to make money or do business, but there really was no one doing any business. So you got deeper.
It did. So maybe there was a bigger purpose for all of this.
Like you said, just kind of reorganizing priorities from all this was a big thing for a lot of people. Just understanding what's important, with what we deal with on a day-to-day, and you get into a groove where, like you say, if you're trying to hit a certain goal and you're making money, providing for your family, you get not stuck, but you
caught
up in it, because, and then the next thing you turn around, 6 months has gone by or something like that. But this was that reality check right there that like, wow, hold on a minute, what's important, what's valuable right now.
And it really made you value your health, because without your health, you don't really have much. You can't provide for your family or do anything without your health.
Yeah. And that was, of course, my biggest fear when this hit, and everybody was closing, and I thought, if we close, people are going to go without shelter, they're going to go without food, they're going to go without medication. So we kind of had to weigh out, that priority of and the benefit to people if we stayed open, knowing that staying open might put us at risk. And but we've just been extra careful. Wearing masks, sanitizing a lot, and thank God no one on my staff's been sick, even though we've interfaced with the public like nonstop.
So has anyone in your organization got the COVID?
No one's been sick.
We've been so blessed in Ocala with our numbers being as
no
low
one's
as
presented with symptoms or anything, because that was the thing. As soon as somebody presents with symptoms or somebody tests positive, we're probably going to have to shut down everything for 2 weeks.
Right, and that changes the dynamic of the reality of what you're doing too, which is trying to help, but then you can't do what you necessarily need to do.
Every day when I drive into work, I just pray for God's protection over the staff, and so far, I think He's answered that prayer, and we've been good. A little tired, but good.
Awesome. Well, we just
your stats. Anyone would be tired with these stats.
Yeah. Just a little bit of time left, partner. If there's anything you want to fill in, as we just got about a minute.
We're excited. We've gone to print a couple days ago on July's issue, and it's a very unique issue. We've got 40 under 40, and we're celebrating our 40th year anniversary of the magazine. I'm coming on my 2nd year anniversary in October of owning it and publishing it. So we're just counting our blessings. There's some really unique young people that are doing some dynamic stuff in the 40 under 40 in July's issue. So we're just excited to get that out, and we're glad to have Carla here, and we're looking forward to some positive things in the future.
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I hadn't gotten the privilege yet. Joe, he acts like everybody. He's that rude guy that doesn't introduce. He's just like, I'm happy to know these good people.
Well, he had Larry and Robin for so long.
And he had to assume.
He's the new guy, by the way.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I figured that out.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you very much for Ocala Magazine, as that brings us to the end here of AM Ocala Live this Friday, this last full week of June, as we see ourselves into next week, getting into July. So everybody have a good weekend. Stay cool out there. It's going to be a hot one. And until next week, for AM Ocala Live WOCA, stay tuned for the Conservative Watch Hour up next. But until then, goodbye.